guys, Meredith with ExtremeTerrain.com, and today we are checking out these front upper control arms for 2 to 4 inches of lift in black, fitting all 2005 through 2023 6-lug Toyota Tacomas. Now, if you've added a lift to your Tacoma recently and it didn't come with upper control arms, or the current ones that you do have on your truck are worse for wear, this is going to be a solid choice to look into. Now, working with 2 to 4 inch lift heights, these will help if you are experiencing poor drivability when it comes to your suspension, and will be a good upgrade if you are driving on the street and taking your Tacoma off-road and you want a little bit more confidence when it comes to your suspension. Now, when you lift your truck, the control arms do sag if you haven't upgraded them yet, and that causes more load than necessary because that angle isn't as flat as it should be, which will cause some instability, limit your suspension, and it can potentially accelerate the wear. Now, these, however, will have the correct angles to position the suspension correctly and provide a more consistent and responsive ride. These will also last much longer than the factory ones with more durable components and a maintainable construction, so if you are taking your Tacoma off-road, you're not going to have to question your truck even in tough scenarios. Now, these will feature a 1 1/4 inch DOM steel tube construction with quality welds, and it does come with gusseting on the arms to increase the strength. They also will have a nice black powder coat on top that will, of course, look good in the wheel well, but will also resist rust on the steel underneath, especially if you live in a tougher climate. Now, the ball joints are also heat treated to ensure a more durable build than factory, and these will have Zerk fittings and a dust cap over them to not only maintain the ball joint, but also the bushings on the back to make sure that everything's moving properly over time. Now, on the ends, these will also come with red polyurethane bushings and will include the metal sleeves in the kit. These are a bit stiffer than the factory rubber, which are going to help with control and tightness in your suspension and avoid any accelerated wear. It'll also come with all of the hardware that is required to install these on your truck and provisions for your factory brake lines. Now, for the two, this will be roughly $375, which is fairly affordable for what they are. They are getting a durable construction with the additional gusseting on the control arm itself, the polyurethane bushings that are going to hold up much longer than the factory rubber, and you can maintain these over time to keep up with them. Now, compared to others in the category, they may have slightly different features or construction, but if you're looking for a good set that's on the lower end of the price range but's going to get the job done well, these are going to be a great set to look into. Now, install here is going to be fairly straightforward, but I am going to give it a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and it should probably take you about 3 hours or so to get the job done. Now, speaking of the install, one of our customers here has installed these on their Tacoma and is going to walk you through what the process looks like step by step. So that is going to wrap it up for what I have to say. Let's go ahead and jump into the install.
So, need a car jack, stuff for that, I have the key for my lug nuts, a bigger hammer, a smaller hammer, some ratchets, a 1/2 inch drive and a 3/8 drive. Need a 21 millimeter, a 19, a 17, and a 10, and then I've also got an adapter. I have a breaker bar, a torque wrench, a crescent wrench, some needle nose pliers, just a socket extender, flathead screwdriver, a crowbar, and some WD-40. Okay, so then once you get the tire off, you're going to want to remove a couple of these pins. I just use a flathead screwdriver. So when you take this through bolt out, it'll get in contact with the body here a little bit. So you can just use some vice grips or pliers or something, and you'll just kind of bend this out of the way. So the bolt can come out. And if you scratch it or mess it up, you can just clean it off and then put a little bit of undercoating on it so that it doesn't start to rust. There are some wires back here. So you just pop these little pins in. And the wires move out of the way. There's one right there, right here. Just pushes the wires up out of the way. Okay, so then I just take some WD-40 and I'll spray it on this bolt over here. I'll also put a little bit on this one right here. This just holds your ABS cable on, and then also some on here. Just to get everything starting to loose up. Then I have a 19mm socket, and if you have a 19mm wrench, you can put it on this side. I don't, so I'm just using a crescent wrench. And they're on there pretty good, so you're gonna have to use some good power. Washer. So then next I'm going to take this bolt off. It gets stuck sometimes. On the last one I did, I broke the head off, which is kind of okay for this set of control arms because it comes with a new one, but this one is not broken yet. So. Knot comes off, and there's just enough room to get it out. And then for this castle nut, you'll take the cotter pin out, just like that. So you just screwdriver in there, open it up, and then pull it out. And then this one is a 19 as well, and it is also on very tight. So. Breaker bar. If you're having a hard time getting access, you can take your sway bar link out, but I was able to do it without getting it out, without having to take that off. Then I leave it on a little bit, because you're gonna have to hit this with the big hammer to get it to drop off. Okay, so next I'm going to remove this big bolt that'll come out that side. See, it's a good thing I bent it over there. Not washer stuck. That's no problem. This is where I use the little extender. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a flathead screwdriver and keep hitting this bolt out. So you can see the bolt's coming out, and now it's able to go behind that part of the body. Okay, so the bolt is kind of getting stuck on the body back in here. Again, just kind of going in here. Bend the body just enough for the bolt to get around it. Alright, so now you can see that it's come off this side. So I'll go ahead and finish taking this casting nut off. What I'll do is I will put this other jack stand. I'll put the caliper up on it to help support it once it comes off. Okay, so you probably should disconnect the sway bar link, because that's what I was fighting here. It's wanting to push this down, which puts a lot of strain on these wires and brake lines. So I just got this out and I zip tied it up to the shock just to hold it in place. And then you'll finish removing this bolt out of there with this guy. There is the old upper control. The bolt staying right there is probably a good thing. Okay, so this is the new one, this is the old one. We'll have to assemble it. I already put the other one in, so you take two of these, and you go in each side. And then these will go in here, but as I learned last time, it's a good idea to grease them up before you try and shove them in. Put some of the grease that came with them on here. Put some inside here. Just slide right in. And it also comes with some Zerks, which you want to go ahead and put in. These little holes right here. And just screw right in. Like that. And as well. Okay. Then we will come over here and go ahead and put some grease in those. This is just a little grease gun, and you use just not that normal automotive grease in here. For me, on these, once it pops out there, and now there's lots of grease in there. The other one. Take this little foam cap thing off. And then it also comes with 4 washers, a new bolt, and then some of these to hold that wire back up onto here. Okay, so then I'm gonna take this old washer off, put one of the new ones on, then go ahead and start putting this guy in. Stuck here, just move things around a little bit. And then once the bolt starts coming through here, back it off a little bit and I'll put this washer in. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that washer in there, and then if you have trouble sliding it back down, you can come up off the hood, and then if you look, you can see the bolt down below these 2 hoses right here. You can see the head of that bolt, and then just take a hammer, tap it in, and then go look and see it going in. And keep pushing it in. And then put this last washer on. You can just go ahead and get the new bolt on. And then tighten it down. And the new bolt is a 21mm bolt. This side is still a 19, but I don't. My 19 doesn't fit back there. But if you have a wrench, you can use the wrench. Put this guy in here. Then, so one thing that I struggled with on the other side was this wasn't at a good angle to get it back into the knuckle. So I just take a paper towel and I will hold it. So I put it like that, push with my left hand, pull with my right. I have to bend it out so it's a good enough angle to go back in the knuckle. And this is gonna be the fun part, is getting the knuckle back up. Okay, here comes the fun part. Like I said, you should probably disconnect your sway link, because then you don't have to fight that. I didn't, so I do have to fight it. So here we go. Let's see how it goes. So because I didn't disconnect the sway bar link, it was trying to push it down. So I couldn't get the new ball joint thing all the way through the knuckle. So what I did is I had to jack up on the lower control arm a little bit, and then I was able to get it on. So now we'll just go ahead and tighten it on all the way. Then we'll go ahead and torque these down. Okay, so for the through bolt. The torque specs are 85. So set this to 85. Gosh, where's 85? There we go. Okay, so that's 85, finally. And then this other one for the knuckle is 81. So we'll set this to 81. Doesn't fit. Well, so it doesn't fit. So we'll torque it to 81 or something else. Which happened just done 85. This is pretty dang close. We're at 81. Then you take this guy, and it slips right on there. You take the new washer, bolt, put on. It is a 10mm, I believe. That goes in. Then you want to come back up here. Make sure you clip these wires back in. That. And you can take your push pins, put those back in. And how else is this? Oh, apparently I broke the other one, so don't break them. I'm gonna put the other one right there. So this is torqued, this is back on, that's torqued. Now we're done, we just put the tire back on and we are good to go. Okay, then this is the most important part. It won't work unless you do this. That is a complete joke, you gotta put the sticker on. There we go, look at that. KSP Performance.
So that is going to wrap it up for my review and the install of these front upper control arms for 2 to 4 inches of lift in black, fitting all 2005 through 2023 6-lug Toyota Tacomas. And you can find these right here at extremeterrain.com.